Let's now talk about one of the most fundamental aspects of modular synthesis, and that is modulation. I'm going to showcase ADSR envelopes first. So let's go into the module section under BEAP. There's a category called envelope, and I'm going to load in this ADSR envelope. To understand this better, I'm going to also load in a voltmeter under the scope category. Let's load in the voltmeter. I'll take the output of the ADSR, plug it into the voltmeter so we can see what's going on. Now we're going to use this ADSR in the signal path over here. So I'll delete this cable. So we'll take the gate output and plug that into the gate input on the ADSR. So that's how ADSRs work. ADSRs need a gate input. Unlike, let's say, an oscillator that's always oscillating, ADSRs need a gate signal and then they start their process. All right, so I have the gate input on the ADSR and I'm going to take the signal output and plug that in here to control the amplitude of this signal. And we simultaneously can see what's going on with this voltmeter. In fact, I'm going to add another voltmeter. Just to reiterate how the gate works, let's take the gate output and plug it in here to the second voltmeter. All right, I'm going to lock the patch now. So here we'll see how the gate works. I'm going to bring the volume down just for a brief moment. So you can see the on-off switch. So this jumps up to full voltage, jumps back down when I press and release. Whereas this voltmeter is acting a bit differently. All right, so let's hear and see what's going on. So this device is modulating the volume of our signal. There are 4 different stages. The first stage is the attack time. So currently our voltage is set to 0 volt. As soon as I play a note and this gate signal triggers this ADSR, the voltage is going to increase to the highest value, in this case 5 volts, and it's going to take 263 milliseconds to go up to the highest value. Let's make it even longer so it'll be more obvious. I'm going to get rid of the decay and put the sustain up so we kind of just ignore everything else for now. Let's just focus on attack. So you notice how the signal gradually went up to 5 volts, and obviously also the volume was gradually increasing. And you notice that the gate doesn't do that, right? Because the gate is just an on-off switch, but the ADSR is creating that shape. All right, let's skip decay and sustain and talk about release. I'm going to increase the release time. Now when I release a key, the gate value jumps back down to 0 volts, but the ADSR, now that it has a release value of 1.91 seconds, is going to take that much time to release. So when I play a note, it takes a while to get up to that highest value. And when I let go, it takes 1.91 seconds to go back down. If I have a shorter release time, let's get rid of the attack for now and just focus on release. Get rid of it completely. Now it's just acting just like the gate. Give it a super long release time. You notice how it takes that much time to go back down. All right, attack, release, hopefully makes sense. Let's now talk about decay and sustain because they're kind of related. So after the attack stage, where the signal jumps up to the highest value based on the attack time, the signal will then decay down to the sustain value. You notice that this is not a measure of time, unlike attack, decay, and release. It's just a percentage. So let's say I set this to 50%. I'll just type that in. And I'll increase the decay time. So now we're saying, after the attack stage, when it reaches the highest voltage value, how long does it take to go down to the sustain value is your decay time. And of course, we also are hearing the release stage. Let's get rid of the release to just focus on decay and sustain. You notice that the sustain value stays there as long as I'm sustaining a note. When I let go of the note, that's when the release stage kicks in. Right? So attack, decay, sustain happens during a note being held down. And when you release a note or a key, that's when the release stage kicks in. Staying at that 50%, but when I let go, it jumps to complete silence because release was 0. Let's increase the release this time. Let's also increase the attack time. So now we have all 4 stages active. Attack, decay, waiting at the sustain point or sustain value. And then when I let go, we move on to the release stage. And that's basically how ADSRs work. Now we're just using this to modulate the volume, but technically you can use this to modulate anything you want. I just held down Option to create a copy of this ADSR. I'm going to use this to modulate the pitch of the oscillator. We have all these CV inputs, control voltage inputs. Let's use the second one. And make sure there's a gate input because, as you may know by this point, ADSRs don't work if they don't have a gate signal. All right, so the gate signal has been connected. This has been connected in to CV2. This is also important, the CV percentage. If this is set at 0, we're basically saying kill this signal. Don't let it affect pitch. But I do want it to affect pitch, so I'm going to increase it. So if I set to 100%, we'll get that full voltage range, but I can also scale it down here. Let's set it to, I don't know, 50% maybe. All right, so let's get rid of the attack here, and let's keep the sustain at full, so we can really hear this ADSR more. So this ADSR is controlling volume, this ADSR controlling pitch. We're not seeing this movement, so let's add another voltmeter. So that's the one for volume, that's the one for gate, and let's take one more here, and this is the one for pitch. Let's also bring in this ADSR, maybe some attack, decay, sustain down. Let's go a bit faster with the attack, a bit longer with the decay, sustain further down, and a little bit longer with the release. Alright, so that is how ADSR envelopes work.